Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Alright, hello everyone, let me turn my light on. I got voluntold to do something, which is why I'm a little bit late starting the stream. But I'm here. And get into this. I'm going to bring up the episode. I'm not going to go necessarily scene by scene. I'll just cover because basically this episode, and I don't know why my camera just goes in and out of focus every time I move. But basically the episode jumps back and forth amongst the different parties that it focuses on. Basically, the focus is one instance, it's focusing on the group with Elrond and Galadriel, and then another instance is focusing on what's happening with the not Gandalf asshole and the two fucking hobbits all the way in Rune, and then jumps to basically what's happening with Hood Legolas, Isildur, and basically what's going on with that little group. So it goes back and forth. So rather than jump from, because it goes focuses on one, then goes to another, then goes to another, and then back and forth. It does that. So I'm just going to cover everything that happens within the groups basically, and just try to get through this as painlessly as possible. And before I say hello to the chat and bring the episode up so we can go through it, I keep getting asked by people, why do I torture myself watching this? Basically, why do I torture myself watching this? And I'm going to give you an answer. Whether or not you accept this answer, it is what it is. And when I say I don't care, it's not because I'm trying to be mean. I'm just saying this is my response to that question that I keep getting asked. I'm not hate watching it. While I do hate what I'm watching, I'm not coming it from the approach of hate watching it. All right. So if that makes any sense, this is not all about hate watching. All right. Nor am I watching this so you don't have to. No one asked me to watch it. No one demanded I watch it or anything like that. I'm taking a bullet, but I'm not necessarily doing it so you all don't have to. Pretty much, that's not my approach. The reason I'm doing it is because Amazon keeps lying, the showrunners keep lying, the actors and actors, they keep attacking fans, calling us misogynist, racist, sexist, what have you. They keep denigrating Tolkien's memory and legacy and so forth. And if no one else is going to protect the legacy, and I'm looking at the Tolkien estate, specifically Simon Tolkien, because he is listed as a consultant for this travesty, then someone has to. And to do so, I am watching each episode, breaking down where the lore is being, blatantly being ignored or broken, the memberberries, and the piss fucking poor storytelling in these episodes. I'm getting it out there, right? So basically, so people who are looking at this going, oh, this is based on Tolkien's works, because there's not every normie is paying attention to what's going on. They're watching this thinking that Amazon's being faithful to Tolkien. And when in fact, Amazon is not. The showrunners keep fucking lying. Right? That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm torturing myself. I only have about 4 more weeks to go of this because there's 4 more episodes. We're on episode 4. I did not do any review or live stream breakdown for the first 3 episodes because Amazon decided to drop the first 3 episodes instead of the first 2 because they knew that the numbers weren't going to at all come close to what they were in season 1. So they decided, well, let's just drop these 3 episodes and then just fingers crossed. But there it is. But anyway, I'm going to say hello to the chat and I'm going to bring the episode up itself and I'm going to go through each instance. I do have some books here that I might be referencing during this stream. This is my notebook. Isn't it cool? Anyway, what I use to take notes on each episode. There's about 5 pages worth of notes for this one. More than any of the other episodes so far in this season. Anyway, from the top, I see Gravy says, I fell into a burning rings of power. It feels like that. No worries, Trey. I know you got your pinned down podcast happening. So Hope you have a good time. This is my kick. Thank you for dropping it. Mike, not to call you out, but I don't know if you saw my answer to your comment on my review on YouTube. I did not make a mistake. I was not referring to Fangorn Forest. I said Old Forest, basically. In Fellowship of the Ring, Merry and I believe Pippin are kind of sucked within the trunk of a tree in the Old Forest, and Tom Bombadil has to rescue them. So what happens in this episode to the stranger, aka not Gandalf, is memberberries to what happens to Merry and Pippin in Fellowship of the Ring. So when I said Fellowship of the Ring, I wasn't referring to the movie, I was referring to the book, because the movie basically omitted entirely the sequence with Tom Bombadil, that whole scenario within the Old Forest. That's what I was referring to, not the movie. So ready for the pain? Well, guess what? There's a lot of fucking pain in this episode. Thank you, Soul Assassin. Good to see you. Conroy, what is up? Hello, Terra Crystal. Good to see you. Malty, what is up? Should have seen George Martin's rant. He read people who break lore. A new one. It was glory. Yeah. I mean, when I say yeah, like I haven't seen it because I haven't really been on social media that much. Most of my time was creating the thumbnail for this afternoon and handling other stuff. So, and this is my Twitch. I dual stream on Kick and Twitch, which reminds me, after this, I'm planning on possibly doing a gaming stream this evening. Since I didn't stream, I don't think I streamed Thursday, but definitely did not stream yesterday. So, know that enemy. That's why I watch it. Oh, that's another reason why. Basically, it's to guard against those who would destroy Tolkien's legacy, which is what Amazon is doing, under the guise of respecting the canon. Basically, I hope so. Because I feel like he's spinning in his grave right now. Yeah, but I do not pretend to be at all on par with Sir Christopher Lee, but that's essentially what I'm doing. So, unfortunately, there's no really good area near where I live to do that. Otherwise, I would. First episode, they lost half the audience. There's like 1.8 million who watched like the first episode of season 1, and like half that for the first episode of season 2. Doesn't want to live in his grandfather's shadow. Like, if I'm saying, like, if he doesn't want to live in Tolkien's shadow, motherfucker, put me in charge of the estate. I'll do it. I don't care if I'm living in Tolkien's shadow. I would gladly live in Tolkien's shadow because he is the father of modern fantasy. We would not have most of the works we have today if not for what he wrote. So I'll do it. Hey, Madalong, no worries. Abomination, hello. Yeah, I couldn't remember Thursday. But, yeah, I definitely remember I didn't stream Friday. So I'm going to try to stream tonight. We'll see. And I'm going to keep this to like a relatively short stream because I'm by myself. So, for this, so I don't want to talk for very long, especially if I'm going to stream later on. Specified Rings of Power. Well, let me just bring up the episode. And we'll go into that, shall we? Let's see. So, okay, good. It's still muted. I'm going to move this over to the other screen. So if I miss anyone's message, I do apologize because I kind of have to have it over on the other side. So that way I can stay looking at here and then over at the episode itself moving forward. Thank you for resubscribing to Luke. Much appreciated. And hello, gaming. What is up? Yeah, we tried, but all like Star Wars fans, I feel like Tolkien fans are stronger than Star Wars fans and have always been. Star Wars fan pretty much like demonstrated they would turn on a dime as long as there was a hallway scene or memberberries. You know, the dangling of keys in front of them. I remember that. I never really got. I watched some episodes of Firefly and never really got into that. But I remember like people were pissed when that show was canceled. So yeah. But anyways, let me just share, get off. Thank you, my screen. window. Thank you. Okay. You like the title I gave it? But anyway, this is the episode. Like I said, I'm not going to go necessarily scene by scene because it jumps back and forth. I'm going to cover like major things that happen with each of the characters it focuses on. So, but anyway. Now, I'm going to have to cover some things that happened in the first episode because it kind of ties into what's going on here, particularly with the Elrond and Galadriel scenario. All right, so I'm going to move this up here. All right. This is why I had to bring this up, pretty much, because I did not do a review of the first 3 episodes. So, all right. Those who watched season 1, or those who watched me break down season 1, will remember that the entirety of Galadriel's arc in season 1 centered on proving Sauron was alive and, in Middle-earth. All right, that was her whole arc, was proving she was right, proving Sauron still existed, and she's proven right at the end of season 1 when she cucks Sauron into the friend zone. All right, but he to no one's fucking surprise who called this early on in season 1, Halbrand ended up being Sauron. Galadriel was proven right, and that's pretty much where season 1 ends, with her. I can't remember if she exactly warned Celebrimbor and Elrond in that episode, but basically she said, "Do not treat with Halbrand." Now, answer me, see if you can guess, chat. Does she tell them why not to treat with Halbrand? See if you can guess. Does she tell them why not to treat with Halbrand? Most masculine white guy is the evil being. Shocker. She doesn't. She fucking doesn't tell the 2 individuals that were with her, who, Elrond and Celebrimbor, who would need to fucking know this information. She doesn't tell them. All she fucking tells them is, do not treat with Halbrand. So at the beginning of this season, you see Elrond and Galadriel beating it from Eregion to Lindon, alright? Elrond has taken the 3 rings. Basically, he doesn't, he's not sure to trust Galadriel because she's kind of being secretive, alright? And Galadriel has to be forced to tell, she's ordered, literally, by Gil-galad to tell them the real identity of Halbrand. She's ordered to. Wouldn't you think that that'd be the first fucking thing out of her mouth? Hey, don't treat with this man. He's actually Sauron. Whether or not they believed her would be another thing, but the fact that she would have told them why not to treat with him, you'd think that would be the first fucking thing out of her mouth. But no, she has to be ordered to reveal that information to Gil-galad and Elrond, so now they don't trust her. Alright? Which totally goes against all of their characters. Now they don't trust her. And where this episode picks up is Gil-galad has sent messengers ahead of them to Eregion to warn Celebrimbor, but they have not heard word from those messengers, nor have they heard any word from Celebrimbor. So Gil-galad, not trusting Galadriel, has appointed Elrond leader of this little group. Elrond is taking Galadriel as a lieutenant because, deep down, he still kind of cares for her as a friend, even though he doesn't trust her, nor does he trust the 3 rings created in the first season. And they take 4 other elves with them, right? 4 other elves with them. Yeah, pretty much. All right? So it's like a group of 6. I'm gonna play this a little bit so you can kind of see, because they show a map basically where they're traveling. She's saying, I know, like, Archer, and it's like, like, whatever that he needs for the group. Total of 6. All right. So they show a map, all right, because they're going to show the direction they're going. Okay. Hurry the fuck up. Diversity is our strength, Lindon. See that them in the distance? Shit. I actually hit the 10 seconds back. Okay? I love the sweeping shots that like make absolutely no fucking sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do they take... Time is of the essence. All right? It's made abundantly clear. Time is of the essence. We have to get to Region to warn Celebrimbor. And we have to find out what happened to the messengers. Time is so of the fucking essence. Do they take horses? No, they walk. Exactly. He has demonstrated no leadership qualities whatsoever in the first season, but somehow he's entrusted only fucking because, Gil-galad does not trust Galadriel. So that's why Elrond's appointed. But he's no military expert in this season, nor has he demonstrated any qualities befitting of a leader. And Elrond is supposed to become the actual commander of the northern armies for Gil-galad. Yes, pretty much, yeah. They have sentient eagles. Well, the eagles are sentient, but they are their own species, and like you would not be able to ride them. Basically, that's people's misperception when it comes to the eagles. All right, they're not like normal animals that we know. They're not like just big like eagles. All right, okay, they're like, I believe they're actually spirits or close to it. They're not normal animals, so they're not just big eagles. They have their own dialect. They have their own hierarchy. There's a king. Okay, so unless they decide, okay, go the fuck away. All right, so unless the eagles themselves deign to allow you to ride them, well, like phrasing, but all right, on their backs basically as the eagles fly, you would not be able to take the eagles. So people thinking that like the Fellowship could have taken eagles from Rivendell, or I should say the Moria, because they think fly you fools. Basically, fly you fools is Gandalf telling them like to take eagles, which is not fucking true. He's telling them, get the hell out of there. You can't save me. All right, he's not telling them to take eagles. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. That and the fact that Sauron would see them coming miles away because of the great eye in the sky, literally. So, anyway. Oh, and an eagle appeared in, I believe, the 3rd episode, the previous episode, in Numenor. Already. In Numenor. And it did nothing other than perch itself on this balcony, and for some fucking reason, because it did not kill our Pharazôn when Pharazôn approached it, the people who were turning against Tar Muriel, which never fucking happened in the canon, took that as a sign that our Pharazôn was supposed to rule and not Tar Muriel, and for fucking reasons. We did see an eagle in the last episode, or one of the last episodes. Why the eagle came, no fucking clue. It just showed up. Anyway, but they're hoofing it on foot. Alright? On foot. Alright? Elves aren't super, like elves are more agile, they're quicker than humans, but they're not that fucking quick. And I might add, Elrond and Galadriel were on horses when they were traveling from Eregion to Lindon. Right? So they were on horses. They took horses back to Lindon from Eregion. But when time is of the essence, let's just take the scenic route. That's what's going on. And these are like the most like the shots are pretty. The shots are pretty, but like they just do these shots to fill up space. You don't fucking need this. You don't need this many sweeping shots showing them traveling from Lindon to Eregion. Look, see? Here's Lindon. Okay? Right here. They have to go all the way there on fucking foot. Weathertop was a shorter distance to the Shire, and it still took the hobbits and Aragorn a month to get it roughly from Bree to Weathertop. A month to a little over a month. Shorter distance than that. If you look at a map of Middle-earth, shorter distance than that took them, because I believe Frodo and Sam and then Merry and Pippin, I believe they leave the Shire around September time frame to mirror when Bilbo left in The Hobbit. And it took them till about October time frame to get to Weathertop, I believe, if I remember correctly. So a little over a month. Shorter distance. They're going from all the way from Lindon to Eregion on foot. Go fucking figure. It's a distance, and that, like, and I said in my review, because the fucking writers, don't have any fucking concepts of map scale. Just because it looks relatively close on the map does not fucking mean that translates into actuality. That's how scales work on maps. 1 inch is equal to so much distance, so they can figure out how far away something is from one point to another. That is not a distance easily traveled by foot, nor is it a distance quickly traveled by foot in the time that they demonstrate within this episode. This is what I love. They come to a bridge, all right, because no other natural disaster could ever destroy a bridge, pretty much. But the ring of power that Galadriel has, which is Nenya, by the way, somehow she can tell that the bridge is destroyed because of Sauron. Okay, all right, she sees visions and things like that. Elrond still doesn't trust her because he doesn't trust the rings. Oh, by the way, we see Círdan also in I believe the first episode of the season 2. And for those who don't know, Círdan is one of the oldest of the elves. And I'm going to say oldest, I mean like before first age old of the elves. He's a shipbuilder. All right, and he's like one of the wisest elves. And Elrond takes the 3 rings to him for Círdan to destroy the 3 rings. But Círdan, through some circumstances, decides not to destroy the rings. He believes that even though they were created under the shadow of evil, because, in season 1, Sauron was there when the 3 rings of power were created that ultimately go to the elves, when in fact in actual canon, he is not there. Celebrimbor just makes the 3 rings, and Sauron finds out about them later. So they're actually good, and there's no reason to not trust them. All right, but in this case, hey, they're created under the shadow of evil, but as long as we're wearing them and do good with them, everything should be fine. Basically, that's the fucking reasoning for keeping them. Hey, we can still do good. We can still do good. Yeah, Sauron was instrumental in creating them, but yeah, we can still use them for good. Doubt it. But anyway, see the guy there holding a map? He's a cartography elf. Alright, that's kind of what he's described as when you look up the information for this episode. He's a cartography elf. They need a fucking map to find their way to Eregion. Yet Elrond and Galadriel traveled from Eregion to Lindon. So they know the fucking way. But now they need a map. Now they need a map. So in this instance, and I'm going to like go to my notes so I can show you the spelling. Oh yeah, by the way, see, I have stop rolling the fucking R's. Because every time they say Sauron, they go, Sauron. No, Sauron. One fucking R. Not two. There's no two R's, just one R. Sauron. Say it with me, Sauron. Alright? So basically, they get to this bridge. They can't cross, obvious fucking reasons. Yeah, he's a cartography elf. He's a map reader. Where do I have it written down? Okay, they say there's only two ways to go. There's only two ways to go. They either go north, adding 2 weeks to their journey, which should already take months on foot. All right. Hold on, I'm going to shut my door because I hear. Sorry about that. Anyway. Or travel south through a region known as Turn Gorthad. The Barrow Downs. The speech guy is a retard. It's never been how you pronounce Sauron's name. It's Sauron. Just Sauron. It's just because they rolled their fucking R's in Lord of the Rings, and then we were like, stop doing that. This doesn't mean that that's how it's pronounced. The speech guy is a fucking retard. And clip that and tag Amazon. Your speech guy is a fucking retard. Anyway. So it's the Barrow Downs. Alright, so they have to go through the Barrow Downs. The Barrow Downs, at this point in the timeline, it's just a burial ground. That's it. It's just a fucking burial ground. Okay? That's it. Hey, Citizen Ronan. That's like when news people try and pronounce South American countries. Yeah. Okay? So, Elrond decides to go south. Like, we're going to go south. Yeah. He doesn't listen to Galadriel. I don't fucking care. They go south. Alright? I'm just going to jump forward, because I'm going to like go back and forth a little bit in this, because I want to show you what we see in this region that should not exist at this point. Those are called barrow wights. Alright? Those are called barrow wights. Okay? What you need to know about barrow wights, okay, is that they're evil spirits. Not tied at all to anything buried in this region. No fucking ties whatsoever to anything buried in this region. They were sent by the Witch King during the Third Age, I might add, during the Third Age, to the Barrow Downs, and they kind of infested it. All right, so basically, if you tried going through the Barrow Downs, you would be accosted and, well, chances are killed by one of these. All right, if you weren't lucky. They're evil. Yeah, they're evil wraiths, essentially. They're evil spirits. That's it. And what they do is they animate the corpses of those buried, and that's why they look like that. Okay, so like you wouldn't see the barrow wight in its true form. They kind of like moved, like basically, and like how I put this, kind of possess the corpse, move it, and that, like, you know, and that's how it goes. Like, attacks people if it does, right? So, yes and no, right? It's creepy. They are fucking creepy, but they do not exist in this region yet. Nor, and according to this show, And according to this show, the weapons of those entombed in the Barrow Downs are what you use to kill them. That's according to the lore in this show. That the weapons buried with those entombed in this region can be used to kill barrow wights. Spirits. Again, I reiterate, barrow wights themselves are not connected in any fashion other than to possess the corpses. That's it. That's fucking it. So the weapons would have no fucking... There'd be no point in using them. They would have no effect. They would have no effect whatsoever against them. But according to this episode, they do. No, you can't actually kill them. They're spirits. But in this episode, if you use the weapons because according to this episode, barrow wights can be killed. Like I said, can be killed with the weapons entombed with the corpses themselves. That's it. You can't kill them. You cannot kill them. That's why people avoided in the Third Age going through the Barrow Downs. All right, that's why people like that. When I say people, I mean the species, hobbits, humans, what have you, avoided going through the Barrow Downs because of the evil spirits that infested that area. So if this scenario happen, oh, and the Black Elf, by the way, he's the first to die. So basically, that's a horror movie trope in this episode. But he's the first to die. You don't see it. He's dragged by chains into this tomb, and you hear a swishing sound. So he's dead. By the way, the ginger lives. He's the only, but the Black Elf is the only one that dies in this scene. Oh, he had a fade. Well, it looked like close to having a fade. I mean, I'll take it back. You're kind of late joining in, Citizen Ronin, but I'll show you. See? There he is. See how short his hair is? Not exactly a fade, but short hair. First to die. Only one to die, I should say. Only one to die. So, yeah. Alright, so that's the Barrow Wights scene. Like I said, I'm going back and forth, and I'll cover the other groups after I cover Elrond and Galadriel. Alright. Yeah, they don't trust each other, blah, 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 blah. Alright. For some fucking reason, orcs are already marching on Eregion. For some reason, orcs are already marching on Eregion. What cause do they have to march on that region right now? Because they've let Halbrand go. I can't remember what deal Halbrand makes with Adar, basically, but they've let him go, ostensibly, because Halbrand is going to do something that'll make everyone happy, just about. But they're already marching on Eregion. Why? It makes absolutely no fucking sense at this point. Why are they marching on Eregion? They have no cause to do so. And you, by the way, you all in one of the episodes prior to this, and you see him in this episode too, but you meet the troll that Rings of Power showrunners have said that was inspired by the Breaking Bad character. All right. The troll's name is Damrod. Okay. The troll's name is Damrod. A troll based on a Breaking Bad character. For those who do not know, Damrod is an actual character name from Tolkien canon. Alright, he's not a major character, but he's an actual character from Tolkien canon. So they took a real character's name and gave it to a troll. Damrod, in actual lore, is a human ranger from Ithilien. Alright? Damrod is actually a human ranger from Ithilien, and he's one of Faramir's bad. Mike something. I can't remember what the name is. Like Mike something. Mike. Whatever. I never watched Breaking Bad. Or at least I didn't really get into it. But it's based off. You can look it up. You can find articles. It's based off a Breaking Bad character. Maybe they didn't get the memo. Yeah. So they're already marching on a Region. And they have one of the elves is wounded by a stray arrow from the orcs because they're trying to shoot a horse or something like that for dinner or food or whatever. And Galadriel is able to heal the map elf. This guy right here, however you pronounce his last name. Yeah, they run hard in the in-name only writing. Yeah. So, but yeah, Damrod is an actual character, but it's a human character, and they gave his name to a troll character in this, just like they gave a dwarven name to a fucking hobbit, because Nori is a dwarf's name. Nori is one of the dwarves that goes with the on the quest in the Hobbit to the Lonely Mountain, who joins Thorin. That's a dwarven name, but they give it to a fucking hobbit in this series. Alright, so Galadriel heals the wound. Everyone is fucking shocked, even though Galadriel does have relative healing powers. It's not really clear whether the ring enhances her powers or not, but everyone's shocked that she can heal. And she tells them to basically beat it back to Lindon. And she being the wonder elf she is, will buy them time by taking on this small group of orcs that have broken off from the larger group by her fucking self. Because of fucking course she can, right? Because of fucking course she can. Totally fucking believable, right? And what I hate about this is not the fact that she's Wonder Elf in this. It's what Elrond says here as they're leaving. Because one of the elves, because they're watching this from the distance, they've taken off, right? And then they turn around and watch from a distance, and one of the elves says she's doing this to save them. Okay? The rest of the group. Alright, she's basically sacrificing herself to save them. And Elrond says, in so many words, she's doing it to save the ring. Because she gives the ring to Elrond. Galadriel gives Nenya to Elrond. And they're going back to Lindon. So basically, Elrond is, without flat out saying it, strongly implying her motivations are entirely fucking selfish. Galadriel is a selfish character in this series, with the writing. Oh yeah, the combat choreography is pathetic. It pretty much is. Oh, I gotta show you. This is one of my favorite parts. Hold on. Okay, after she has a sword, by the way. She has a sword, and once she gets up close to them, she's still shooting them with arrows. But she does that because remember, Legolas used 2 arrows in Lord of the Rings. Memberberries. Remember fucking berries? She uses 2 arrows here. Look at that. Isn't that so fucking nice that a burning orc is just on his hands and knees like that so she can get a little boost up onto the horse? Isn't that so fucking nice, chat? Stellar choreography. Stellar choreography. And that's how she gets on the horse. I just fucking love that. Yeah, but this is basically where their story ends. She's kind of captured because like by Adar, he shows up, and that's the end of this group's story in this episode. That's the end of this group's story in this episode. So let's go back here. Talking about not Gandalf, his story, or his part of the story. You mean a golf clap? Yeah, let's give him a golf clap.
Golf clap? Golf clap.
So, not Gandalf and the two hobbits are all the way in Rune. Rune, let me see if I can bring up. Okay. Let me stop sharing this to show you like another map. To show you where Rune is. Alright. It's all the way here. Here's the Sea of Rune, and this is the Brown Lands. Alright? This is essentially where this area here is where not Gandalf and the two hobbits are. Okay, because we're 4 episodes in. I have yet to see the fucking Sea of Rune. Alright? So they have to be in this area. Desert area of Middle Earth. The Brown Lands. Literally called the Brown Lands. Alright? Because there's no sea whatsoever. There's no sea whatsoever. Yeah. Alright? Alright, so they're separated because there's a group of bad guys trying to find them. And I'll go into kind of why they're trying to find them in a little bit. But they're separated. And not Gandalf comes across this man, who's referred to as a goat herder by one of the bad guys later on. There's one fucking goat in the entire episode. But he's called a goat herder. Okay, you're herding one goat. That's not a herd. Alright? I've only seen one goat. This is Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadil. They have Tom Bombadil all the way in Rune, and he's in like that. You've heard the term like in the movies Easterlings. Those are those who live all the way in the east of Middle Earth. Easterlings. Okay, there's different races that like do live there, but they're ultimately called Easterlings, right? Tom Bombadil lives in the Old Forest. Like that's where he chooses to reside. That's like where he lives for as long as those on Middle Earth can remember, pretty much, because there's no clear origin for Tom Bombadil. He basically just, according to actual Tolkien legend, basically just appeared essentially, right? Just on Middle Earth. Don't know where he came from. Don't know exactly the extent of his powers, things like that. All right, but he is called the Eldest, and this episode is called the Eldest, referring to Tom Bombadil. Right, referring to Tom Bombadil. He's called the Eldest, and so forth. He's called many things. He chooses to live in the Old Forest. Let me see. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Let me see if I can like find it on this map. So, well, it doesn't really say, but I'll show you where the general area would be on this map. It is east of the Shire. Okay. So here's the Shire. Right up here. It would be just east of it. Okay. And if you can't see, here's Weathertop. Okay. So that's a distance. Shorter distance, like I said, from here to here. But it took the elves less time to get all the way from fucking here to here. Anyway, but Old Forest is roughly here. All right, because the four hobbits find their way, are finding their way through the old forest. That's where Tom Bombadil lives. All right. So he doesn't exactly live in a hidden area, Soul Assassin, but he's not like, you know, he's not easily seen. All right. The fact that if it's like pure happenstance that he happened to be dancing through the old forest when Frodo and Sam hear him. All right, because he's not basically, you know. Okay. Hey, Winky. All right, but anyway, that's Tom Bombadil. All right. He lives in this desert area. There's somehow a tree growing. This tree. Now, all right. When I said this is memberberries, this is what I mean. Because it's not going to detail what like Merry and Pippin do. Not Gandalf needs a staff, and he thinks, oh, like, you know, maybe I'm supposed to just like tear this branch off a tree to make a staff. The tree starts, no, like, nope, buddy. I'm gonna take you in. See? So basically, this is memberberries, chat. This is memberberries. Yeah, I know. They do. This is memberberries. Because for those who've read the books, like, you remember what happens to Merry and Pippin, right? Remember what happens to Merry Pippin? Remember where, like, who has to save them? It's Tom Bombadil, and Tom Bombadil has to save not Gandalf in this. They're in the Brownlands. They're not near the Sea of Ruin. That's not... How far down do these roots go for this tree to get water? There's also a well in the middle of this desert that somehow is able to get water. There's no water source that can be seen within miles. Yet somehow the two hobbits find a well in one of the previous episodes, and there's a tree growing here with no, like, you know, basically, like, that's not good soil for this type of tree. There's no nutrients, and there's no discernible source of water. Just because he never wrote it, doesn't mean, like, you know, it's like Tolkien made the trees not need water. It's one of those facts that doesn't need to be written. Trees need water. Otherwise they die. Alright? They need water and carbon. Otherwise they die. Just because he didn't write it, it's most likely like a fact that, like, you don't need to write because it's obvious. Well, the tree swallows up not Gandalf, and Tom Bombadil has to save him. I'm going to get back to the hobbits a little bit. Alright. This scene right here pisses me off to no end. This is one of the scenes that pisses me off to no end. Because not only is that not Tom Bombadil and that is not Gandalf, but not Gandalf comes to this realization in this episode that he wasn't supposed to find the stars in the sky. He was supposed to find these stars fucking painted on Bombadil's roof, or ceiling, I should say. That he was meant to find Tom Bombadil. To do what, you might ask? To learn magic from him. They have dropped the word Ishtar already in this season. Okay? Ishtar is the singular of Astari, right? From the Kenya, which is an elven language. For wise ones. Or wizard. 5. Enter Middle-earth. Ishtar, not Ishtar, Istar. Ishtar, Istari, There's no H. I'm not saying an H. Ishtar is a wizard, right? It roughly translates to wizard. They are already imbued with magic from God. They are spirits. So the revelation is, I'm supposed to learn magic from you. I hate this series so fucking much. This pissed me off. The Barrow Wights pissed me off. The whole scenario with Elrond and Galadriel pissed me off. This fucking pissed me off. Because not Gandalf is a wizard. But yet somehow he can't remember his name. He doesn't know magic, yet he can conjure up spells. He can speak Kenya. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know how he's able to do it. So he doesn't need to learn magic. And another thing that pissed me off in this scene is that the Dark Wizard is brought up. There's another wizard in this series that's introduced in this season. And I'll show you guys. And Tom Bombadil is afraid, fears an allegiance between this Dark Wizard and Sauron. So not Gandalf takes that his mission on Middle-earth, why he was sent to Middle-earth, is to go against Sauron. It's well greater than 1,000 years before they even get to Middle-earth. They enter Middle-earth 1,000 years into the Third Age. If they were actually following the chronology time, like in the Second Age timeline, the Rings of Power are created from 1500 to 1590 in the Second Age. Right? The entirety of the Second Age is 3,441 years. All right, so it's like 3,000 years roughly before wizards are supposed to enter Middle-earth. And thank you for the member message, Mike. Yeah, they steal lines left and right from other sources because of memberberries. All right, yeah, they do. Diversity and women power. Yeah, pretty much. More, yeah. And so it's way greater than 1,000 years before they even get to Middle-earth. All right, and what pisses me off is right here, because they have the rights to the appendices, chats. They have the rights to the appendices, and in the appendices, it makes it clear what the Astari are supposed to do. All right, once you get to the Third Age. I'm going to read this to you, chat. When maybe 1,000 years had passed, and this is in the Third Age, and the first shadow had fallen on Greenwood the Great, that Greenwood becomes Mirkwood. Sorry, when you hear mention of Mirkwood in the Lord of the Rings movies, that used to be Greenwood. The Astari, or wizards, appeared in Middle-earth. It was afterwards said that they came out of the far west, Valinor, basically, and were messengers sent to contest the power of Sauron and to unite all those who had the will to resist him, but they were forbidden to match his power with power or to seek to dominate elves or men by force or fear. So they were to contest the power of Sauron, but they were not allowed to match his power for power. So they're implying in this that he's supposed to take a stand against Sauron, that he's going to try to match Sauron's power for power. And that is explicitly what they're not allowed to fucking do. They have the rights to the appendices. It's here, literally in black and white. Literally in black and white. They came, therefore, in the shape of men, though they were never young. There's no younger version of them. There is no fucking younger version of them. They were never young. How they appeared, how we see them, is how they appeared on Middle-earth, as wise old men. All right? Though they were never young and aged only slowly, and they had many powers of mind and hand. They revealed their true names to a few, but used such names as were given to them. All right? The two highest of this order were called Eldar, Kurenir, the man of skill, and Mithrandir, the Grey Pilgrim. Those are Saruman and Gandalf, respectively. All right? Then you had Radagast the Brown and the two blue wizards. The two blue wizards, they're the ones that go all the way to the east, and they have no bearing on the timeline. The two blue wizards end up in the east, not Gandalf. So this fucking pissed me off. That pissed me off. Because Gandalf does not need to learn magic from Tom Bombadil, nor would Tom Bombadil teach him magic. All right, Tom Bombadil, like, he wants to live his little old life in the old forest with Goldberry. Oh, by the way, we hear Goldberry's voice. She's a river spirit. She's speculated to be a river spirit. There's no fucking river around. So where's Goldberry coming from? You hear a voice, but there's no river. All right. So now the two fucking hobbits. Let's see if I can find them. End up meeting a dickhead in the desert who looks like a hobbit. This dickhead right here. All right. And they make him take them to where he lives. Basically under force of threat, like basically threat. All right. Oh, this guy's also a fucking moron. He's He's supposed to be the comedic relief in this episode. It's cringe. Hey, Stunning Brave Megatron. It's cringe. But we find out that because these two here believe they've come across, other like hobbits like themselves, Harfoots. But no, these are stores, okay? I gotta go handle something. I'll be right back, chat. So, chair string for a little bit. Sorry about that. That's a store. All right, S-T-O-O-R, store. And you know what Tolkien fans have that these writers don't have? Books like this. So, this guy here, David Day, he's actually pretty damn good. Encyclopedia of Tolkien. So, what is a store? You might wonder. All right. They are the largest and strongest of 3 hobbit breeds and the most like humans. Let me see if I can get a wide shot of them. Well, I'll stick on this scene. The stores were the first hobbits to live in houses. Nope, those aren't houses. And they tend to dwell near rivers and marshes. Nope. They are also the only hobbits to use footwear, usually dwarf boots. Nope. Still fucking barefoot. And to be capable of growing any kind of beard or facial hair. Nope. Let's say Corbin, my man. Nope. She should. They're barefoot. And I'm not seeing any facial hair on them. Yes, Julie, that's the kind of hobbit Gollum was. Smeagol. He was a store. He was the river folk. Look up like the area of Vale of Anduin. That's where the stores dwell. They prefer rivers and marshes. The river of Anduin. Or Vale of Anduin. Like that river area. Well far fucking away from Rune. It's basically before Mirkwood. Alright, let me see if it's on the map. I mean, I can show you roughly where it is. I can show you roughly where it is. But it doesn't really say it on this map. But it's before Mirkwood. It's before Mirkwood. Yeah, it's a desert village. So there's stores. Stores also distinguish themselves by being the only breed that is unafraid of water or even considers the idea of boating and swimming. Through their commerce on the river, the stores are among the wealthiest of hobbits. Harfoots are farmers. Typically. Harfoots are the hobbits you see that if you've seen the movies, you've seen, because they are the ones who inhabit the Shire. They are the ones that inhabit the Shire. So the dickhead brings these two back. The dickhead, by the way, is named Merrimack. That's also a character name Tolkien created. So basically, they took another name that Tolkien created and gave it to a non-canonical character. They gave it to a fucking store in Rune. So basically, you have like Tom Bombadil's an Easterling, and now hobbits are Easterlings at this point. All right. So, and the village elder, I guess, for one better way of putting her, she's called the Goond. No explanation given. None that the fucking moron can give. But she's called the Goond. G-U-N-D. Alright? That's what she's called. G-U-N-D. The Goond. Alright? So basically she ties them up and until they decide what they're going to do with them. And the big thing about this scenario that I fucking hate is she finds out the name of their trail finder, Sadok Burrows. And apparently Sadok Burrows is descended from a Burrows that left this area in search of, and I wrote it down, the gist of it, I wrote it down. Okay. This is what the fucking woman says. Legend has it a store, unlike the others, dreamed of a place with endless waters and hills so soft you could dig a hole and live in it in less than a month. I'm like, I wrote, is the goon fucking describing the Shire? So basically, and the store that left had the last name of Burrows. So basically, this episode strongly implies that Harfoots are an offshoot of stores. Not a fucking separate breed, but an offshoot of stores because of one fucking store and their followers that left this area in search of a better area to live in. And also, funny enough, ultimately, because they could not find an area, they became wanderers. They instead of settling somewhere, they decide that they're going to fucking be wandering all over God's green Middle Earth for no fucking reason. Harfoots settle. They are not nomadic. They're not travelers, and they're the ones that occupy the Shire. Harfoots, I'll read this. H-I-J-K. Harfoot. The smallest in stature and most typical of the three strains of hobbits, the standard issued diminutive, brown-skinned, curly-haired, hairy-footed, hole-dwelling hobbit. All right? They are not nomadic. Hole dwelling. It says right fucking there. Hole dwelling. Fuck the show. So basically, a lot of fucking inbreeding would have had to happen for that to be the case, pretty much. Because where did they find these other fucking hobbits? Inbreeding would have had to have taken place. All right? Inbreeding would have had to have taken place. Before I get into Isildur and Hood Legolas, real fast, not much happens with them. Not much happens, like nothing major in my opinion happens with them. But I'm going to show you this guy. This is a dark wizard. Oh, and by the way, hobbits know the word wizard. How? Fucking how do they know wizard? This is the dark wizard. All right. There were no dark wizards at all before Saruman fell. Even when they entered Middle-earth, they were all good. Sauron never started dark. He never started dark. He fell because of the promise of power holding the One Ring meant to him. He fell. He was corrupted. But he never entered Middle-earth dark. There was never any dark wizard that entered Middle-earth. They were all good. Because they're spirits. They're Maiar. Or basically Maya. Basically Maiar, I think is singular. But anyway, they're spirits. They're not human. They are imbued with powers like greater than... Well, like they're imbued with powers just shy of the powers held by the Valar. All right, so they're pretty fucking powerful. So when people compare Gandalf and fucking Dumbledore, it pisses me off. And you can clip this and tag Harry Potter fans on Twitter. I don't fucking care. All right, but Gandalf would turn Dumbledore into a rainbow fucking smear on the side of Hogwarts because Gandalf is not a human. He is an equivalent of a fucking angel. So anyone thinking that Dumbledore could even have a fucking hope of defeating Gandalf is smoking something. Because they see the word wizard and automatically thinks it means the same thing as Harry fucking Potter, and it doesn't. But there are no dark wizards in Middle-earth. Alright? But he's dressed in what looks like a whitish color. Why is his hair black? Again, there's like no... There's no younger version of these characters. They come into Middle-earth as old men. I aim to please. Anyway, they come into Middle-earth as old men. So how we see them, for example, in the films portrayed by Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen, is how they came to Middle-earth. He used just for men. Alright? But he's called a dark wizard. And he's basically sent these group of... You can't even see their faces. You don't know exactly what they look like or whatever. But he sends the group that's tracking that was originally tracking the not Gandalf and the hobbits. Like, you go try to find these two hobbits. I'm going to go take care of the Eastar. All right, because for some reason, this dickhead here does not want not Gandalf figuring out who he, like, you know, figuring out that, like, what he actually is. He doesn't want not Gandalf remembering anything. Why? It doesn't make any sense. Why? His purpose is like finding not Gandalf and making sure that he doesn't remember anything. Okay. All right. Now the only other group that like this episode focuses on is Isildur and Hood Legolas. All right. Not when I say not much happens, I mean nothing like really much major happens. This chick here, I can't remember her name. I don't even care to remember her name. She's found out by Hood Legolas to be a traitor, like a wild man. They're called wild men. Those who have sworn allegiance to Adar are called wild men, and they basically roam the wood, like, you know, the areas around Pelargir, which, by the way, should not even fucking exist at this point. But they roam the woods around this area and capture people and take them back to Adar. All right, that's it. And then she's discovered that she has a mark on the back of her neck that is branded into those who swear allegiance to Adar, and I can't even fucking remember why. Like, Hood Legolas is making her like come with him in Isildur. It makes no sense because like the only thing she tells them that, like, you know, at all is that, you know, you best travel north because that's where you'd find most of the wild men. And he goes, like, you know, how would you know? He's like, well, and she like tries to lie her way through by saying, like, you know, well, I've like basically watched them. She's avoided them, and it's like being like, you know, going all over this area, so she's seen things. But he like figures out that she's leading them into a trap. Why she needs to take her, and like, I have no idea, because they need to find the emo kid, Theo. Because Theo's mom died off screen. They need to find the emo kid. All they had to do was like leave her chained up in Pelargir. I don't know why they fucking bring her along. It makes no sense. Like, you know, it's like she's in shackles, and like she's not exactly leading them. They're just like walking. So she's not like telling, you know, pointing them out to you. We have to go here, or you have to go this way, or whatever. She's not doing that at all. All right. But the big thing that happens with them. See if I can get a good shot of them. That's an Ent. That's an Ent. That's an Ent wife. You see two Ents in this episode. A male Ent, which I don't believe you would all hear his name, and a female Ent. And the female Ents are typically called Ent wives. And her name is Winterbloom. Winterbloom. Treebeard, his name makes sense because he looks like a tree, and the moss makes it look like he has a beard, hence the simplicity of his name, Treebeard. What the fuck is Winterbloom supposed to be? I don't know. I guess they're going to show what happens to the Ent wives. Yeah, her name is Winterbloom. Her name is Winterbloom. And I'm going to look up like Ents for you guys. And Ent wives disappear essentially during the Second Age. Okay, tree-like beings, they're not trees, they're tree-like beings, and shepherds of trees of Middle-earth and among Tolkien's most original creations. Once asked about the origin of Ents, his Ents, Tolkien wrote, I should say that Ents are composed of philology, literature, and life. They owe their name to the Eld Enta, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, of Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon reference is to a fragment of the hauntingly beautiful Old English poem, The Wanderer. The word Enta there is usually translated giant, so that the phrase means old work of giants and relates to the prehistoric stone ruins of Britain, then considered to be the work of an ancient race of giants. Right? Basically, yeah. And if you look up Entwives, they disappeared during the Second Age. That's it. So, she's named after a fragrance spray. Yes, Winter Bloom. That's her name, Winter Bloom. That's it. And we find out that she and her companion are the ones that basically took Theo and the wild men, basically. So they're trying to track this group. They're trying to find Theo, and she's been imprisoning people she believes are harming the woods. All right? She's been imprisoning people she believes are harming the woods. Let's see if it shows. See if I can find it. Oh, see, I have to go back so you can see it clear where Theo is. Come on, I should have gotten timestamps. Not that I really care about this. Here, see, they're trapped in this. So so somehow these branches are able to bend in such a fucking way as to hold them in prison like that. She's upset that these wild men, like the other races, are harming the woods. She wants to protect the woods. All right, they're protectors. I'm seeing broken branches there. She literally fucking harmed a group of trees to fucking trap them here. Hey, Calix. Look at that. She's upset at what they're doing to the trees, and look what she does to imprison them. It's stupid. But that's the big thing, and Hood Legolas convinces her that he'll do everything in his power to make sure that nothing happens to the woods, and he'll protect them, and and the whole conversation, she decides to let everyone go, blah 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 blah, and that's where it ends for that group. And that's the episode. That's the eldest. It's called the eldest, and the eldest refers to Tom Bombadil, but Tom Bombadil barely has any presence in this episode. He barely has any presence in this episode. But yet the episode is a reference to him. And for the individual that loved my Harry Potter shade, I do what I can. I throw and my chat can attest to this. I generally throw shade out at that IP. But that's the storytelling in this series. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. Like I said, again, Elrond and Galadriel travel from Eregion to Lindon on horses, but yet for some reason, whenever they have to go from Lindon to Eregion, they travel on foot. Tom Bombadil's in Rune. He never travels that far. He never goes that far. He lives in the old forest. Hobbits don't live out that far, because Stores definitely don't live out that far, because they prefer rivers and marshes. Harfoots, they prefer living in holes in the ground. That's so they are not wanderers, but that's breaking lore. There's a dark wizard in the Middle Earth. There were no dark wizards prior to Saruman's fall. not Gandalf apparently has to learn magic from Tom Bombadil, which makes no sense because the Ishtar are wizards who are already imbued with powers, aka magic. So he does not need to learn magic, but yet for some reason he needs to in this series. We see two Ents that basically are upset at what's happening in the woods, and yet for some reason they break branches on trees to imprison people. So they're a little bit of hypocrites. The Blue Wizards, the Blue Wizards basically they're the ones that traveled all the way to the east and basically just like did their own thing. Just so you guys know, if you're curious about the Blue Wizards' names, on Hijk, come on. Istari. Saruman the White, Gandalf the Grey, Radagast the Brown. Tolkien tells us the names of the two others, Alatar and Palando, the Blue Wizards, but that since they wandered into the far east of Middle-earth, nothing is known of their doings. So Alatar and Palando, those are the names of the Blue Wizards, but they have no fucking bearing whatsoever on the timeline at all. There are no Dark Wizards, and there are no wizards in Middle-earth prior to the Third Age, according to what Amazon has the rights to. But there it is, chat. Anyway, I had to call it here because I'm talking by myself, and I have to save my voice for whenever I stream tonight, which will be in about an hour. On my Kick and Twitch. I think I'm going to play BioShock because I'm trying to get through the first BioShock game, because this month I'm going to try adding more games to the roster going into the spooky Halloween season in October, like playing more horror-based games. So I kind of want to get BioShock done. I think the whole fucking movie is stupid and should be scrapped. We don't need to see The Hunt for Gollum. We don't need to see it. I don't want to see it. And it's basically stemming from basically a blip of a conversation within the Fellowship of the Ring. That's it. There's no actual chapter or chapters dedicated to the Hunt for Gollum. It's basically just a conversation. That's it. At some point, I'm going to get back into the Shadow of Mordor game. I started playing it and it stopped. Because I started playing other games, but eventually I'll get back into playing it because despite its lore breaking, it's actually more accurate than this fucking shit show that I'm reviewing. Well, Gravy, get someone to gift me 40 more subs on Kick and I'll play it. But there it is, chat. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out with me. I'm going to get this shit off your screen. But there it is. There it is. That is episode 4 of season 2 of Rings of Power. There's 4 more episodes left that I've got to go through. Episode 5 next week. Do a spoiler review. I'm basically going to watch the episode Thursday, do a spoiler review Friday, and then a spoiler live stream breakdown of the whole episode, going into more details of what the issues I have, because inevitably there's going to be fucking issues with each episode. But here, I don't know how to raid. It doesn't give me the option to raid, but Pin Down Podcast, go check this out if you like wrestling. He and Mr. T, and I don't know if Creamnado is if he's still busy or not, but he's generally part of it. But basically, if you like wrestling, they break down the wrestling episodes of the week and give their thoughts and impressions of what's going on storyline wise within Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and so forth. Okay, Cream is on there today. All right, those 3. So go check out this stream, our Pin Down Podcast, and thank you everyone for hanging out with me. See you all later. All right, let me just in case this is my Twitch. And I dual stream there with my Kick, so I'm trying to find if someone can drop that link. I'd appreciate it. But Kick and Twitch later on today in about an hour. So take care. Have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all later on tonight and definitely next week for more shit talking this series. Take care. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.